Now we move on to our tip of the week, and Warren is going to talk to us about changing talkback granularity so that you can better spell text. Warren.
This is a very important part of the podcast. We've been talking about the fact that we're going to start the tip of the week. And so we come to that part of the podcast or the episode that I would like to talk about changing those granularities in TalkBack. It is important because, number one, you want to be able to either character by character spell something that you are not sure of the spelling. Because as we know, when you're reading things by ear, you're not getting the spelling of each and every one of those things. And so once you come across something you're not familiar with, you want to make sure that you are able to know the spelling of that, like that thing that Dave was talking about. I probably would know how to pronounce it after I see how it is spelled. So that's where this type of changing granularities would work. So I'm going to turn on my screen here, and I am going to focus on a subject matter here. I'm going to be focused on a message that I received from my buddy Gary. I call him the ducky head. And so here I am.
Suggested reply. Cool. Gary Melconium said that is why I want to stick with Windows 10.
Okay, so now I am on this message, and I want to change my granularities. If you have the Talkback 9.1, we have two. Well, actually, if you don't have a Pixel phone and all you have is some other brand, but you have Talkback 9.1, your best bet is to scrub what I call the scrubbing. You swipe up and down in one fluid movement to change the granularities. So, for instance, if I do
paragraphs
and I swipe up and down again,
words,
I am on words. I swipe up and down again,
characters,
do that again,
speech rate,
do that again,
links,
do that again,
controls,
do it one more time,
headings,
do it again,
paragraphs,
and I'm back to paragraphs. So let's go to words. I do it again.
Words.
All right. So now, instead of swiping left, and this is the part that I don't like, you have to swipe down with one finger. It used to be that once you've changed your granularity, you swipe left, if you're reading word by word or character by character, but you don't swipe left or right. Instead, you swipe down or up with one finger. So
Gary Melconium said that is why capital I 1 2 stick.
So I'm reading, character by character. Word by word now. I want to spell, see, for instance, if I want to know the spelling of the word stick, I'm going to swipe up.
Stick.
So it's at the beginning. And this is, by the way, this is how TalkBack works. When you swipe to a word and it says the word, the cursor is at the end of that word. So if you're in an edit field and you're typing something and you want to edit it, just keep in mind that when you're using word by word or line by line or word by word, for example, and you want to edit a word, when you swipe to the word, you are actually at the end of that word. So keep that in mind. The cursor is at the end. So if I do
stick with,
okay, see, I'm on the word with. The word with now has the cursor at the end of that word. It's not at the beginning. So if I do characters, and watch, if I do swipe down,
space.
See, there's a space. I'm not on that word with. And that's why I'm saying that when you read word by word or character by character, when it says something, the cursor is at the end of it. So I'm going to go back to words.
Words.
Okay.
With. Stick. With.
Okay, now with, and I have to swipe up.
With.
Now I go to character.
Characters. W-I-T-H.
See how that works? That's how that works. And so it's important. Let me try to type something here real quick.
Suggested chat message. Edit box. Out of list. Showing it.
Okay. I'm going to type something.
Voice input.
Hello, Gary, comma. What are you doing? Question mark. How come you're not participating in the podcast? Question mark.
Space.
I hit the space bar to stop the dictation because I didn't want to find the stop.
Capital L.
Okay.
Delete. Space deleted.
Now I'm going to go read the message.
Hello, Gary. What are you doing? How come you're not participating in the podcast? Edit box. Editing. Gary Malconium.
Okay, so now I want to go to the word Gary. Okay.
Question mark.
So I'm
Question mark.
on characters now. Let's switch back to
Words.
words.
Podcast. The. In. Participate. Not. You're. Come. How. Doing. You. Are. What. Gary. Hello. Beginning of. Hello. Gary.
So see, it's on the word Gary. Let's say I want to change that word to Jerry. Okay. And so now I switch to characters.
Characters.
If I think that I am on letter G and I want to backspace or maybe go forward and then backspace and erase G, I'll be mistaken. I am at the end of the word Gary. I'm behind letter Y. So for instance, watch if I hit delete.
Delete. Why deleted?
See what I mean? So I am not at the beginning of the word Gary. So I just messed up my Y. I have to,
Gary. Gary replaced R. Gary.
There we go. So now I have to go to the beginning. Watch. Okay, I want to change Gary to Jerry. Maybe just Jary. I know that's not how we spell Jerry. But let's say I want to change it to Jerry. Okay.
Gary.
Okay. Now I am at the beginning.
Gary.
Beginning of that word. So I now change my characters.
Characters.
And I need to swipe down because if I don't, I am in front of the letter G. So I swipe down.
Capital G. A. R. R.
So now I'm on R, but now I'm behind R. So I hit backspace.
Deleted. Delete. Capital G deleted.
Now I'm going to put in Jerry.
Shift. Shift. Capital H. Capital J. Capital J. E. E. R. R.
So I'm going to.
Suggested reply. Good luck. Enlist. Hello, Jerry. What are you doing? How come you're not participating in the podcast? Edit off.
So I just fixed that. So if I want to spell that Jerry, okay, I'm in characters now. I could just do
R. E. Capital space. Space. Capital J. E. R. R. Y. Space.
Go back to words.
Words. Jerry.
And if I want to just tell it to spell it, I just invoke the Talkback menu.
Talkback menu. Editing options.
And I find spell last utterance.
Copy last spoken phrase. Read from next item. Copy spell last spoken phrase. Jerry space.
And that's how you go about changing granularities in Talkback. We will be doing more of these tips and also diving deep into Talkback so you have a better understanding of the workings of Talkback. That is your tip of the week.
Thanks, Warren. And for completeness, I'll say two things. I think this came across when Warren was demonstrating it, but whether or not Talkback places you at the end or beginning of a word depends on which direction you're navigating. So if you're navigating forward, so to your next word, next line, whatever, you're going to be at the end of the word or line, whatever unit of granularity you've chosen. If you're moving back, previous word, previous line, you're going to be at the beginning of the previous word or line. Second thing, if you are navigating by word and there is a punctuation symbol after that word, if you move to the end of the word by moving to next word, you will not be about to delete the punctuation symbol. You'll be about to delete the last letter of that word. If you want to find the punctuation symbol, then you may have to move to characters, move to next character and beyond that symbol. It's not going to take you to the end of the punctuation symbol when it takes you to the end of the word.
That's a very good observation, and that's true, Ed. I'm glad you mentioned that because, for instance, I had a question mark, at the end of the word podcast. So let me go there quickly and show
Hello,
you
Jerry.
what
are you
we're
doing?
talking about.
Showing English.
Okay.
US. Queued up. Jerry. What are you doing? How come you're not participate in the podcast?
So see, right now it's sitting at the end of the word podcast. Is in between the cursor now, is in between letter T and the question mark. If I hit the backspace here or the delete key here, I am not deleting the question mark. Instead, I am deleting the T. Watch this.
Delete. T deleted.
You see what I mean? So let me put my T back.
T.
So in order to be able to get to, if I want to erase that question mark, if I want to change that to something else, I have to change to character mode and then go to the question mark. So watch
Hello,
this.
Jerry. What are characters?
Now I swipe.
T. Question mark. End of field.
So it says end of field. Now if I hit the delete key,
Delete. Question mark deleted.
question mark has been deleted. And thanks, Ed, for remembering that, because if you don't, you will not be taking out the punctuation. If the last word or whatever has a punctuation, you need to switch back to character and move to that end where the punctuation is. I'm not sure if this is a bug or it's by design, but it has been like this for the longest time that I know it.
I think it's by design, because if that was the last word of a line and you navigated by line, you would be beyond the question mark. But obviously, that's not always going to be the case. Sometimes punctuation is going to be midline. But if it so happens that you've moved to the end of the line, you moved to next line, you're going to be at the very end of the line. So any punctuation mark you will be deleting. I don't think I like the behavior, to be honest, the word one. I'd like to move beyond the punctuation mark when I navigate by word, but
yeah, it should be, but apparently it's not. And so keep that in mind when you're editing those little love notes.
that's right.